This is a PodCo original.
I'm going to be one of those guys from those old movies in the 1930s, see? Yeah, where they always said, see, huh? Yeah, I got a cigar, see? Now, you see that follow? Yeah, click that follow right there. You follow us, because if you don't, we're going to follow you home, Charlie.
Why is the first Christmas episode in the second season? So I dropped out of college at 19.
I didn't go to college. I couldn't find a parking spot.
The first episode, when we revealed the set,
Yeah, that was magical.
people were bawling.
Yeah.
And I think this show is a space that's warm. Oh, I'll start crying.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 9 of Full House Rewind. It has flown by. I am your host, Dave Coulier, and our guest today is none other than Ron Pearson. Ron is a very funny stand-up comic and actor. You may have seen him on Malcolm and Eddie, Norm, The Drew Carey Show, That 70s Show, and The George Lopez Show. He was also our audience warm-up for Fuller House. You can get more info about Ron and his shows at ronpearsoncomedy.com. Please welcome my special guest, Ron Pearson.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Ron.
Yay. Wow.
Yeah, I know thousands of
almost-
people out there
yeah.
in our gigantic theater that
If
we
we
have
had them
here.
run in a circle, it'd be a whole audience.
It would be, yes, it would be a donut of fun.
Good to see you, man.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, man.
It's been a while. You've been busy.
You haven't
and-
aged a bit.
Well, it's this lighting. It's actually lighting by Photoshop.
That's nice.
Yeah, it Photoshops me live, which is crazy, you know. But thank you for saying that. We're going to jump right into episode 9 of season 2, also known as our very first Christmas show. This episode was directed by John Boab and first aired on ABC December 16th, 1988.
Much love for John Boab. He was actually at my wedding.
Was
and
he?
He got me my first audience warm-up gig.
We got it. Let's save all that
Yeah,
stuff. Let's
I
save
love
all
John
that stuff. We'll button hook right back into that stuff. He ended up directing quite a few Full House episodes.
Wow.
But how about why don't you just give us the rundown on what this episode is all about? You got your stuff right there?
Yes. Well, thinking
Okay.
back,
All
Dave.
right.
Thinking back.
Okay.
The Tanners are dreaming of a white Christmas in Colorado, but their mood turns sad when they are snowed in at an airport en route.
Pulls you in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Just hearing that description.
Right?
Like
'Cause
if you're
you
on
want-
iTunes or something, you're going, ooh, I'm watching that Full House
right?
episode.
Because you want Christmas to be perfect, right?
That's right.
Airport
Well,
food is not what I'm thinking.
No. And we're comics. We've had way too much
Right.
airport food, right? We're going to describe what's happening in this episode together, and I'm going to start us off. all
Okay.
right? Here we go. Season 2, Episode 9 opens with a teaser in the living room. Danny is setting up the timer for a camera on a tripod while the entire family, dressed in their finest, pose in front of the family Christmas tree. The phone rings and the girls quickly exit to answer, then return in just the nick of time to get back for the photo.
Now, the show opens in the living room, which is tastefully decorated for Christmas. I mean, that could be just about anything, really. Danny is holding the video camera. He's shooting the holiday video for Wake Up San Francisco and speaks directly into the camera. He tells the audience that he's going to Colorado for the first annual Tanner family Christmas reunion.
Well, Joey and Jesse enter from the kitchen carrying luggage and singing Sleigh Ride. Danny asks Joey if he remembered to bring his Santa suit, which Joey reveals is in one of the bags. Stephanie enters and announces that she doesn't want to go on the trip to Colorado. She tells Danny that Santa Claus won't be able to find her if she's there. Stephanie shows Danny a map that she drew, which gives Santa directions to her location on Christmas morning.
That's very important to give Santa directions because you wouldn't want it to miss. But we cut to the girls' room where DJ is helping Michelle get dressed. DJ asks Michelle to keep a secret and tells her that she knows where Dad hid all of the Christmas presents.
We cut to the Tanner family boarding their airplane to Colorado. Danny captures the moment with his video camera. He He interviews the girls in their seats, and Stephanie shows Danny another drawing that she made for Santa. Jesse, seated between his parents, sees Rebecca Donaldson boarding the flight. She tells Jesse that she's connecting to another flight in Denver. There's a mix-up with some seats on the flight, and Stephanie and DJ get bumped up to first class.
Dang, those were different flying days.
Yes, it was.
We cut back to Jesse seated in between his parents. They tell Jesse that they think Rebecca is a pretty, wonderful girl and ask that she and Jesse would make a wonderful couple. Danny asked Jesse to pick Michelle up so he can get a video of her on the flight. And as she is hoisted to the top of the seat, she pulls off a grumpy passenger's toupee.
Sight gag, Full House sight gag.
It's always funny, though, toupee.
It is. Ripping off a toupee, always funny.
And I'll tell a story about that later in the show.
Okay, all right.
The passenger gets angry with Michelle, and she begins to cry.
Well, to calm her down, Jesse starts singing The Girl from Ipanema, and then encourages the entire flight to join in with the song. That's what you do on a flight.
It's so Christmassy.
Right? Yeah, it is. The flight attendant makes an announcement that due to bad weather, they'll be making an unscheduled stop.
Uh-oh. Then we cut to the airport terminal where everyone is deplaning. The flight attendant makes an announcement telling everyone that they'll be spending the Christmas at the airport.
Oh, man. A few minutes later, Stephanie is on the phone trying to reach Santa Claus. The family settles into their airport seats. Rebecca tells Jesse that her move to San Francisco has made her homesick.
Well, Danny asks Joey where the bag is that's filled with their Christmas presents, and Joey tells him that the airline has lost the bag. Christmas isn't looking good at this point. Meanwhile, DJ encourages Steph that Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, will find her Christmas morning at the airport. Danny tells DJ that the airline has lost the bag with the presents. DJ says that it's the worst Christmas ever and exits. I'm out of here.
I know. I would be too. I'd be a disappointed kid. A little while later, Joey, dressed as Santa, enters and wishes everyone a Merry Christmas. He asks Stephanie to sit on his knee. Michelle sits on Joey's other knee as Danny captures it all on video. Stephanie pulls on Santa's beard, revealing that it's Joey. The entire family voices their disappointment.
Jesse steps up and gives a rousing speech about the true meaning of Christmas. Charlie Brown, and decides to celebrate with the meager accommodations that they have in the airport terminal. He jumps onto a chair and leads everyone in singing Sleigh Ride.
It's now Christmas morning and everyone is asleep in the airport terminal, including Danny, who has fallen asleep on the baggage conveyor belt. Michelle, who is already awake, pushes the on switch and sends Danny away on the conveyor belt like a piece of luggage. Another Full House sight gag.
Gotta love a sight gag. A good sight gag done well is tops.
Oh, and we had him in this episode,
We
let
sure
me tell
did.
you.
Jesse, holding Michelle, turns on the lights and wishes everyone a Merry Christmas. Danny is now covered in snow, rolls back into the terminal on the baggage conveyor belt.
Jesse's father encourages Jesse to go and give Becky a Christmas kiss under the mistletoe. They kiss and are both immediately smitten.
Whoa.
Jesse, still mesmerized and standing under the mistletoe, is suddenly caught in the arms of a woman traveler. The woman grabs Jesse and plants a Christmas kiss on his lips.
Wow. Well, we cut to the real life Santa Claus. He enters and greets all the airport travelers. Santa waves his hand and the luggage filled with Christmas presents magically rolls in on the baggage conveyor belt. Everyone begins to thank Santa, but as they turn, Santa's magically vanished.
With a little shimmer sound effect.
Wow.
Jesse looks on a computer screen that reads, Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho. Stephanie scrolls the screen, and the message now reads, Thanks for the maps, Stephanie. As Jesse sets the luggage down, everyone begins opening the Christmas presents and singing Deck the Halls. And that is what happens in the episode, our very first Christmas show. Ron, thank you for the help. Any thoughts come to mind as we recap that baby?
Well, the thing that pops in my head is, why is the first Christmas episode in the second season?
Because the writers were, working on other stuff. They were busy. They were busy in that writer's room.
Well, I know on Fuller House, the holiday shows were so extravagant. I mean, they did a fantastic job of all of them, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and
we did big shows. We did big shows with lots of. I directed a Christmas episode, and on Fuller House. And it was a big episode. There was a lot going on, and I remember we had the dog, we had I think a rabbit, and the dog has to bring a carrot over to the rabbit. It was insane. And I remember Jeff Franklin, because it's kind of luck of the draw when you're directing a series. And he's like, "You're not going to believe it. You got the Christmas episode. It is like ambitious." And I'd go, "That's okay. That's all right."
Okay, so I've done thousands of episodes of television, and I've worked with a lot of directors. And when you were directing, I go, "Oh, Dave's got some. This will be interesting." And you did a few.
I did.
And I was so impressed. You were really meticulous. Like, I go, wow, he's not just kind of winging it. I remember talking to you before the show, but you were in the middle of work. I had to interrupt your work. And then you went back to thanks. And then I was watching, I go, man, you really clicked through it. Because as a warm up, for those people that are listening, when you go to a taping, it's a 23-minute show, but it might take 4 hours to shoot.
Right,
it,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So the audience doesn't realize that they're in for like an amazingly long evening.
They're locked in like they're inside Tupperware at that point. Yes.
And I'm the one that's in charge of keeping them happy.
Yeah.
And
we're going to talk about that.
Right. So, I would see those scripts and go, oh no, there's going to be a set dressing or a giant wardrobe change. And Dave's got his hands full. It's going to be a million takes with the animal or all these different issues. And yours actually had a rhythm to it, that had a pacing to it. And I was like,
thanks.
You really did good, man. Seriously.
Well, I really appreciate that. It's a lot of work. And I tried to treat it because what I didn't want to be was a vanity director. A lot of times they'll give an episode to an actor or an actress, and it becomes vanity acting. It's like, oh, give them their episode. I was really serious about it. So I would get up at 4:00 in the morning. I would do all my notes. I would do all my camera. I would do all my blocking. I would get on the stage at like 6:30, 7:00 in the morning because I wanted to talk to the crew guys.
Dang.
And, I wanted to be there. Like, Dave, how big do you want the Christmas wreath? Like that. And a guy would come out and measure between my hands.
Yeah.
Where do you want it? I want it right there.
Yeah.
And, so I always wanted to be as involved as possible and work with the actors. But then, you also have to work with the writers, the producers.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, all of the people that make the show go, as you know. You got your grips, you got your camera people, you got your lighting, you got your sound, you got your art department, you got your set dressers.
To be honest, some of the people that worked on that show, there was so much talent on that set. Amazing.
They were amazing at their jobs,
Yeah.
and I wanted to honor that. I wanted to make sure that I was respectful to all of those people. And I was there for them in those moments where they had a question for me. So
it's impressive.
Thanks for noticing. Yeah, I did 6 episodes of Fuller House. I love directing all of them. A couple were big challenges, big shows with special effects and, kids and dogs and, stunts and all kinds of things. But I loved it. Now I want to hear your toupee story. You got to tell me that one.
Okay, I'm working.
Before we get into all these questions that I have for you.
So I'm a comedian, right? Like you. We both cut our teeth kind of in this town, really. Like, I moved to LA at 21. I did my first TV show. I was on the Mike Douglas show when I was 14.
Wow. Doing what? What were you doing?
Juggling.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they flew me from Seattle down.
Yeah, because you're originally from Seattle.
I'm a street performer from Seattle. I'm like, you're going to be on the Mike Douglas show. I'm like, what?
How did they find you?
There was another guy that came down with me that taught people how to juggle. And so they had him and then said, and this is a guy this is what you can be. Right. And then I would teach them all how to juggle on the show. And it was the Commodores, B. Arthur, Sonny Bono, Charlene Tilton. I mean, what a lineup. And they put me up at the Hollywood Hyatt.
Oh, man.
And so I remember it was 1979 and I'm 14. They go, that's the Comedy Store. There's comedians in there. Is that the year you got to the Comedy Store?
I got here in 1979. Yeah.
That's
1979,
crazy.
I was 19 years old. And I had to see. Now, I loved all those Mike Douglas, Dinah Shore, Merv Griffin, because you knew you were going to see comedians on those shows.
Yes.
So I would hurry home from school because those were on in Detroit, where I grew up. Those were on at 4:00. So I'd get out of school at 3, run home. 4:00, I knew I was going to see a comic. You know, I'd see Kip Addotta, or I'd see a young Jay Leno, or I'd see George Carlin. They had everybody on those shows.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Wow, at 14
I was working in Atlantic City at Resorts International.
Just recently, or
no? This is back in the day.
Oh, okay.
I'm at Resorts International, doing a variety show there, and I'm hanging out with Will Schreiner and Bud Robinson, and we're walking up the boardwalk, and we see Charlie Callis. And he comes walking over, and we're talking, and there's this other guy standing back, and he's got glasses on and a tracksuit. We didn't think any. Finally, he walks over. He pulls down his glasses. It's Merv Griffin. He goes, "Hello, boys. I've been playing Monopoly all day. Just bought a hotel on Park Place." And it was the day he bought the hotel. Yeah, he goes,
for real.
Yeah, for real. The day he bought
Merv Griffin, man. So you have covered my first 3 questions, I think. So when did you came here to LA? You were 21?
Yeah. So I dropped out of college at 19. I was in business school.
I didn't go to college. I couldn't find a parking spot. I drove around that first day and I said, this is way too hard. Okay, I'm sorry.
Do you have ADHD like me? Because I believe you do. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. So I have it big time.
Yeah.
Comedy's like a perfect thing for us.
Yeah, because you can shift gears all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. And especially with live shows, because something's happens in the audience, you key in on it, and then you're like, oh, I'll go back to this bit. And then that person starts talking again, and you can go back to them, and then you got this bit. And you can only, and
that's why I'm so curious about the directing, because the directing seems, for me, it would be a bit overwhelming.
It's set in stone, and you have to tell a story, and everybody has a cue. You know, you got line cues, you got camera cues, you've got, certain effects that have to happen. Everything's, you have to hit your mark, hit the line. So, because your camera guys are depending once you conduct that symphony, you have to hit the same notes every single time, So
I think your success in that must have just been preparation, because
preparation, and I'm an airplane pilot. So I love having a creative brain, but I also have a very technical side of my brain. So I love the technical side of directing, but I love the creative side, where you get to fly the airplane upside down.
We should fly together, because I want to know what it's like to fly with someone with its ADHD.
Well, I'm
just
very
get a little
focused.
distracted while you're up there.
I'm very, very focused.
You're hyper. Well, we have the ability to become hyper focused, right? So.
Well, yeah, but you have to in our business. You gotta kind of have to have the blinders on. Now, as I'm going to shift gears, as an actor, now you've appeared on a lot of shows too. Yeah, and I'm going to make this connection here. A lot of them were comedy stars, like Eddie Griffin, George Lopez, Drew Carey, Gabriel Iglesias. That has nothing to do with how you became an audience warm-up, though, does it? I want to know, I guess what I'm getting at is you've worked with all these comedians who had shows. How did you make the connection to becoming a warm-up on
So
sitcoms?
John Boab, who directed this Christmas episode.
Right. Okay.
So when I was in my young 20s, I was with Bud Robinson was my manager, and Bud and John Boab were very tight.
Bud Robinson, I remember him well.
So we hung out with John Boab a lot, and John had the Ann Jillian show that he was doing. It was a sitcom.
Yeah.
And he said, I think Ron would be a good warm-up for the show. So that's where I started. And then I started doing Star Search after that, and then just kept getting all these calls.
So you kind of learned warm up on the fly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of a work in progress just jumping into it.
But I had been living off of comedy since I was about 17 as a street performer. I had been in circuses and variety shows and street performing. And so I was already making, my first club that gave me a week of work, I was 21. It was Comedy Magic Club, and I featured.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you always had an opening comic, and then you had a comedy magic act.
Yep.
It could be a juggler. It could be, just a straight out magician.
Yeah.
And then you'd have your headliner.
Yeah.
I remember one night there was a guy named Mercer Helms. And Mercer Helms, do you know who he is?
No.
Mercer Helms, he did magic with doves.
Oh.
So one night, I don't know if I should be telling this story. So the greatest thing about being backstage at the Comedy and Magic Club was I got to see how tricks were done.
Yeah.
So I got to see the mechanics of the thing, and they'd be back there working, going, "Oh no, I can't get the lever to do this," And they got, I don't want to ruin it for these guys, but one night one of his birds didn't make it.
Oh no!
And and it flew out.
Yeah.
and it wasn't of this planet anymore.
Yeah.
So he took the wings and flapped it to make it. It was like, now that's the best trick I've ever seen, because the audience never knew.
Wow.
So it came out. He was like, and he's like flapping the wings with his thumbs. And he was so mad afterwards because, he realized that one of his birds
I know
died.
a lot of magicians that get very upset about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
Sure, you get
They
attached
love
to
they love their
Yes.
animals and
Yeah. So that's amazing that you just kind of learned warm up on the fly, because stand up is tough enough, but to keep a live audience is such a unique art form. I'm talking to the audience at home now. It is one of the toughest jobs. I can't imagine a tougher job in show business, because
you can think of it in terms of track and field, right? Track and field, you have 100-yard dash, you have 440, you have the mile, then you have a marathon.
Yeah.
This is the ultra marathon. This is an ultra marathon.
But a marathon, you're running by yourself.
Yes.
You're running a marathon with 200 people live, and you're keeping them focused and energized, which to me is the toughest thing to do in the world, because you're spinning a lot of plates.
A lot.
Right? Because you've got the show happening down on the floor, so you got people.
And the show's the real star of the night.
That's
right?
the star. That's the star of the night.
I got Dave Coulier down there. I got Bob Saget down there. I got everybody.
And you're talking to
Candace,
us.
everybody.
You're you're interacting with us on the stage, but you're also very aware of the story that we're telling that night. So I guess I have a couple of questions. How do you know what's happening in each episode?
They send me the script.
They send you a script. You've got to read the script, and you have to know the story that we're going to tell that night.
Secret: I don't always read the script, but I
so
do.
How do you pull that off?
Well, I kind of get a sense
study?
of what it's going to be about.
You're a quick study,
and I'll also talk to the first AD.
Right.
But basically, I get a scene breakdown. Mm-hmm. And that really tells me what the night's going to be like.
Right.
How many are we shooting? How long are they? How many costume changes are there? Right. How many pages are each scene? I'll always ask the question, what are our most difficult scenes? Because I have to prepare for a scene to all of a sudden shut down and stop. Because shows have these rhythms.
Yeah.
And when a show gets a rhythm, man, you can get the crowd into the storyline so much.
Oh,
and then things can happen. It can derail.
Ron, it's an art form. It's an art form to be able to do it really well, which you do, because not only are you very aware of what's happening down on the stage, you're very aware of, the energy level of these people who've been sitting there forever, because you got to take a little break and you get your bit, but then you got to go back and you're shuffling your bits. You're reading the room the entire time.
Constantly. And you're interrupted constantly.
And you're interrupted because you'll be in the middle of the bit and you go, okay, all right, here we go. We'll go back to the scene.
Yep. You could have a 5-minute bit that builds up to a huge laugh, and in minute 4,
right,
we got to go. And do you go back and do it again 5 minutes later? Probably not.
Because the other thing I want to talk to you about is there's a lot of egos down on that floor.
Yes.
You've got writers, you've got who want to hear their jokes, you've got producers who are producing the show, you've got a showrunner who wants things going a certain way. Then you got some actors that might have some egos. How do you, pardon the pun, how do you juggle all of that?
So the show is always the star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The show is always the star.
Right. Because with us, you would talk to me and Bob, and you'd give us the mic, and we'd go.
Well,
and
I
we'd goof
make you
around.
even more the star. Some thousands of episodes. Some people want to connect to the audience.
Yeah.
Other people want to be left alone.
Right.
Right. And it's their prerogative, but
Yeah.
it is to their advantage to connect to the audience because
Well,
the
the
audience
audience loves it.
okay. Out of the hundreds of different titled shows I've done over the years, your show meant, I'll honestly get touched because it meant something to people. I mean, it wasn't just, I love this show. It deeply moves people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've thought about that a lot. And so it really, by the second and third seasons, I was seeking the people who it meant the most to and trying to give them a moment of magic by taking them down on the stage. And you guys were always so gracious to take photos with people. And I thought a lot about why the show, the first episode, when we revealed the set,
Yeah, that was magical.
people were bawling.
Yeah.
So I'm harnessing not just a comedy show, I'm harnessing a whole, it's an emotion. This is really an event for their lives.
Oh, sure.
People traveled.
Yeah.
There's one girl that would come all the way from Japan all the time.
I remember her.
People would
Yes.
travel from all over the world to come see the show. And I would find them. And, a little kid from the UAE,
Yeah.
a little kid from all these different places, and the show means something to them all. So in thinking about, like, why is that? I really think,
Tell me what you think, and then I'll tell you
Okay.
all these years of what I think it is.
I think the world is crazy and a lot for a lot of people to handle. And I think this show is a space that's warm. Oh, I'll start crying because
It's okay.
it's
just okay.
Yeah, I'm just.
Hey, this show is about
Yeah,
tears
yeah.
and emotions and
Well,
feeling good. You know?
I'm just thinking about what it meant to the people, and because I was firsthand with them every night,
yeah,
and I would see the tears constantly.
yeah.
Not just because they were there, but the show just means more to them.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's a safe place. It's a place
Absolutely.
where
Absolutely.
it just, and it brings a peace. And the other cool thing about the show, which I've not seen in all my years, is that our age or slightly younger than us, grew up watching the show. Now they have their kids,
Yeah.
and they're reliving it with their kids. So it's
That's
two
amazing.
generations that it means just as much to both
It's
generations.
multi-generational. I have people tell me that all the time. Like, this
So
is
powerful.
amazing because I'm getting to relive my childhood with my kids.
Yeah.
See, I hear, and a lot of my castmates hear from people, Full House means the world to me. I had a really tough childhood. And what you said, it's a safe space. It's a place where you get to be a part of the family. And that's how I feel about you, is that you were a part of our Full House family. You would come backstage before the show. You'd make sure, how you doing, and you just fit in. It was just like, because, sometimes we would have, during Full House, we would have a warm-up comic that would come in that was just subbing for that week, and our whole flow was off. So it is such an important part of a show to have that person up there with your audience that is priming them for that next scene where we're going to come out and you're going to make us funnier, believe it or not. And you know that. I think you know that intrinsically. You can have a lot to do with the flow of a night.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so when I got 2 points to make. The first is going to tag onto that. And that point is, when I started, I often got the notes from a lot of producers, directors, never be funnier than the show. Never be funnier than the show. And I soon learned to disagree with that. And what you have to remember is that the show, that's all you have to remember, is that the show is the star.
Yeah.
The show and the stars in the show are the star.
Yeah.
And then let's see how, then I would go, let's see how high we can get this plane.
Yeah.
Because if they're already up there, then you guys just grab that energy and so much good comedic time, and you guys just bam, bam, bam. You know?
Yeah. And it's tough to come in because you got to remember Full House, and then we come back as Fuller House. We've already been together for decades. So you're coming into the hot seat.
Yes.
Where it feels like home for us. So you're coming into our home. If you didn't fit right away, you would know because you'd be gone, and they'd have somebody in there like that. You know, all it takes is for one of the stars of the show to go, "Hey, that guy really bugs me," and you're gone. I mean, it's that.
Yep.
I've seen it happen. And I've heard it happen.
I've had it happen to me.
Yeah. Well, so
there you go.
my point exactly. You know, it's funny because it seems like we're old friends, and really I've known you 7 years, 8 years, but it's just
we had met a few times in the clubs before,
in the clubs
but
and
never
stuff.
really hung out.
But on Fuller House, we became like family.
Yes.
You know, you were part of the family.
I appreciate that, by the way, because
that's how we felt.
Well, and so
because I would tell you if you
Right.
want. I'd say, hey, you know, he's not family. Get him out of here.
no, but you guys say that.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize once again, the hundreds of titled shows I've worked on, not many feel like a family.
Yeah.
And I would say it to the audience on Fuller House. I go, this really is a family.
Yeah.
And I appreciated you all letting me into the family, because it's a great family to be a part of.
It must be tough for you just as tough for us to say goodbye to a series when you've been associated with all of those people, the cast, the crew. It's got to be tough. I mean, when a show is canceled, I mean, for you, forget about it's your livelihood and all that stuff, but you know, you bond with all these people. You're there, you see them whatever their tape night, whatever their show night is, you see them every week, and it kind of becomes a big part of your life. Was it tough for you?
2018, 2019 were such good years because I had two of my favorite, definitely in the top 5 of my favorite shows of all time, which was Fuller House. And I was also doing The Ranch at the same time. And it was, oh, I get to go here tonight, not, it's going to be a long night, here we go. Because when you're doing that kind of a marathon comedy, like my body shuts down earlier in the day. I get quiet because I know I'd have to save all my energy for later. It's just subconscious.
Pre-game nap.
Yeah.
Yeah, take a pre-game nap.
Yeah.
I honestly, I've seen a lot of warm-ups, and I think by far you're the best I've ever seen.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And I said it earlier, there's a real technique, there's a real art that has to happen because it is such a delicate balance between production and what you're doing up there for that audience. So, we appreciate you, Ron Pearson. What's next on your radar? What's happening? Are you doing stand-up? You doing clubs?
I'm doing a lot of stand-up and clubs.
You?
Yeah.
Here locally, like Laugh Factory kind of stuff?
Laugh Factory, Improv, Comedy Magic Club, and touching back into the Ice House now. That's all fun. And doing some stuff on the road and pushing social media and having real fun writing the new bits and pushing social media as well.
Where can people find you?
Ron Pearson Comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
PEAR.
I said that. I'm slouching.
It actually could be Ron Pearson Comedian, but
it could
it's
be.
one of those two.
Could be. Well, I wish you nothing but the best. Before you go, though, can we play a little game?
Love to play a game.
All right, we're going to play a little game. All right, okay. This is a game called Santa Baby.
Okay.
And in this episode, you don't have any answers over there.
Oh, I don't.
You don't. No. So this is a real game.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
In this episode, the Tanner family and Rebecca Donaldson get stranded at a small airport for Christmas. I'm going to ask you some questions related to Christmas and see how many you get correct. Okay. But you cannot lose.
All right.
Everybody, you will win this game. I will guarantee you're going to win this game.
Seven Lords of Leaping. It's my
Close.
first answer. Okay.
Close. Close. All right, here we go. All right. Okay, here we go. I'm going to move my mic here. Just
It's going to be fun.
Okay, here we go. First question is true or false?
Is there any money involved in this? Is there a pot that I,
don't
could win?
know. Let me look. Oh, there's something in there.
Okay,
There's
all right.
something in the magic.
Candy, maybe.
Something in the magic drawer
This
down
could be
there.
good.
Okay, first question is true or false? Santa's red suit was originally made popular by Coca-Cola.
I'm going to say true.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes, it is true.
Oh.
Coca-Cola's matching red and white colors made Santa's suit very popular in the 1930s.
I like that. The drawer should slightly
The
open.
drawer
Slightly open. That's one answer
Hear
correct.
that? Drawer slightly.
A missed question, it closes.
Slightly open. I'm gonna have to get like a contraption with a remote. All right. Question number 2. When kids are naughty and not nice, what does Santa leave in their stocking?
Coal.
Are you reading the answer?
No, I don't. No.
Okay, we didn't give them the answers right because this is a big, important game.
No.
All right, the drawer, open a little more.
You know why I know that, Dave? Because I got a lot
You
of
got
that.
a lot of, you got a lot of coal. I fired up a lot of furnaces when I was a kid. All right, okay. Question number 3: what is the highest-grossing Christmas movie of all time in the U.S.?
Oh, my goodness.
You might not even think. Well, you might not think this is a Christmas movie.
All right, I'm going to go with Nakatomi Plaza.
It's a good guess. It's a good guess.
What's the name of that movie again? Bruce Willis in
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
That's
Shoot the glass. Love that. Love that. Shoot the glass. I was Home Alone in 1990.
oh
$285 million. I
got it wrong.
I know you got it wrong. Second place was The Grinch in 2018 at $271 million.
But see, how can you count that when the like It's a Wonderful Life really is probably
But
but
the highest grossing?
okay.
I don't know.
I was going to say Tim Allen Santa Claus. Those are good.
Yeah, I know. I would have thought
These
that
are all
too.
Home Alones are really good.
I would have thought that too, but Home Alone, 1990, $285 million. All right.
That's a
Number
lot
4,
back then.
You're ahead here.
Oh, the door's slightly closed.
Doors.
Doesn't close all the way. It just
Here?
goes back one notch.
There you go.
I'm
Okay.
too open.
I don't want your presents to, whatever is in there to jump out. Okay, question number 4. Which Christmas song mentions a one-horse open sleigh?
Jingle Bells.
Ding, 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 ding. Ron Pearson is on a roll. Okay. Question number 5, our final question. Here we go.
The door is
What
almost all the
is
way.
what is very colorful, but is the worst Christmas dessert? You know what it is.
Fruitcake.
Fruitcake, yes. Ding, 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 ding. Everyone is a winner. You are not going home. Oh, look at the drawers all the way open. Oh, we've got, what do we have? Oh, look what we have. A cut it out t-shirt.
Wait
a
I was
second.
totally joking about prizes.
Cut it out. I wasn't.
that-
And a matching cut it out
Come
hat.
on.
That's right. Everyone is a winner here.
Let me say something,
Say something.
about this man right here. I would have all these fans, and I only had so much little swag to give out to the audience, and I would reward good audience members or people that have traveled a long way and try and help them. This man would come give me great cut it out swag. Dude, you were honestly, it meant a lot. It was really helpful and it meant a lot to the people. And I
Oh, of course.
heartfelt thanks.
Well,
And now I got
appreciate
it.
That. See, now everyone's a winner on Full House Rewind. We get to do one more thing before we say goodbye, because it's time for Cut It Out.
Cut it out.
Of course, every episode of Full House had a heartfelt scene, and we have cut out a scene from season 2, episode 9 that we're going to be reading together, Ron.
All right.
So you got your script?
I do.
You'll be playing the role of Jesse. I'm going to be playing everyone else.
Fantastic.
Okay? And you're going to have to
You're
act.
giving me all the lines.
You are going to have to act your heart out. I'm giving you all the lines because I know you can do this, because Jesse is magical in this scene. All right? So the Tanners and Jesse are sitting in the airport terminal, and act your little heart out, Ron Pearson.
What's the matter with you people? The first Christmas was in a manger. They did, okay? I mean, so what if we're stuck in this crummy dump? Christmas isn't about presents or Santa Claus or cows. It's about feeling. It's about people. It's about us forgetting about our problems and reaching out to help other people. Christmas doesn't have to happen in one certain place. It happens in our hearts, you guys. So if you think about it, we could even have Christmas anywhere, even in a baggage claim. DJ, what do you see right there?
A coat rack.
No, I see a big, beautiful Christmas tree. Joseph, what do you see back there?
A vending machine.
No, I see Christmas dinner with all the trimmings. Pop, what do you see back there?
A conveyor belt.
No, okay, you're right. It's a conveyor belt. That's the rule of threes right there. That's a conveyor belt. But the point I'm trying to make here is that we could give these kids the best darn Christmas they ever had. And you know why? Because outside the snow is falling. And friends are calling, you-woo, come on. Outside the
Snow is falling,
I don't know the
and
song.
friends
That
are
song.
calling you. And now it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. And everyone in the airport begins singing and clapping, and the scene ends, and Jesse just acted his heart out.
Didn't sing well, though.
Thank you. Thank you. Ron Pearson is my guest. Thousands of people. What do you think? Thank you, buddy.
Cut it out, swag.
There you go.
So awesome.
Okay, here's some of my thoughts about season 2, episode 9. Danny Tanner opens the show holding a video camera, and by today's standards, it looks huge. This Full House episode, our very first Christmas, was a year before Bob would begin hosting the extremely successful America's Funniest Home Videos. That series was for ABC, and he would hold a camera just like this one for the promos for his new show. Here's a shot of Bob on the cover of TV Guide with that camera. I remember how excited Bob was to get the cover of TV Guide, which was the holy grail of magazine covers back then. I was so unbelievably happy for him. What it meant back then was, before social media, was that you were a TV A-lister at the top of your game, and you couldn't be more popular with television audiences. It's such a serendipitous, rare coincidence that this episode of Full House would give us a brief glimpse into the future of Bob's career. We'd like to hear your thoughts about Full House. Tell us about your favorite episode, or just why you love the show so darn much. Or maybe you got a question for me. Who knows? Shoot a short video and email us the link at socials@podco.us. We close every episode of Full House Rewind by giving all of you who need it a hug. This week, our feel-good hug goes out to all of you who may have spent a holiday alone. I did when I first moved to LA. I was 20 years old. I remember calling my family from a payphone on Sunset Boulevard and wishing them a Merry Christmas. Then I had an early dinner at Mel's Drive-In on Sunset. My mom would later tell me how much she cried that day as I chased my dream to become a comedian. So for all of you who missed out on some much-needed family time, this Full House hug goes out to you. All right, here you go. All right, bring it in. Okay, that's our show. We'd like to thank our special guest, Ron Pearson for stopping by, and join us next time here on Full House Rewind. And you can watch all of our episodes on our Full House Rewind YouTube channel. So long, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Full House Rewind. We'll see you next week.